Welcome to Second Sunrise Stories. Relax and enjoy our captivating tales. If you love what you hear, please like, comment, and subscribe to help us bring you more incredible stories. My parents have favored my sister all their lives. When I was reborn into this world once more, I didn't want to fight anymore. If my sister wants my study abroad scholarship, I'll give it to her. If she wants my scientific research project, she can have it too. If she wants my boyfriend, she can have him for life. I just want to live peacefully and love myself. Being born human, I am not at fault, not even a little bit. Emma-chan, you know your sister's health condition. She can't stay up late studying like you can. There's no way she can pass the university entrance exam to get into a good school. So that study abroad scholarship. Dad's voice hardened under Mom's stern gaze. In the end, he still spoke those demanding words. Can you give that study abroad spot to your sister? Though phrased as a question, it was actually a command that must be obeyed, without even a hint of shame. I looked at my father with his not yet gray hair in shock. Before my eyes flashed the scene of me falling from the high-rise building. After a long moment, I realized I had been reborn in the past. I had returned to age 17, back to the point where I could change my life. Seeing no reaction from me for a while, Mom's face turned cold. She harshly criticized me. Emma, you're both smart and capable, completely different from your sister. Even if you don't want to give up this study abroad opportunity, you must give it to your sister. In my previous life, Mom exactly the same thing. Back then, I was so angry that I stubbornly refused to give up the study abroad scholarship that belonged to me. But in the end, my parents went behind my back to make deals, and this scholarship was secretly changed to my sister's name. They didn't even tell me that this spot had been predetermined, letting me play around for the last few months without even taking the university entrance exam, causing me to miss my dream university. Afterward, I confronted my parents about why they did this. They said casually, just study for another year and take the exam again, what's the problem? Their light, casual remark forced me to struggle through another year of exam preparation. After much hardship, I finally got into university, only to face my sister nearly being expelled for failing too many courses. My parents immediately told me to give her my research project so she could graduate smoothly. I refused. They went to the school, used their connections, used their abilities and money. I cried and made a scene, but in the end, I was expelled for not having enough credits. How could I have understood back then that these things that could be given away never belonged to me from the start? The study abroad scholarship was like that, and so was the research project. But Jo 2-12, the things that truly belong to me, no matter how much I give them away, will always be mine. For example, my achievements have already become knowledge ingrained in my brain. I looked up directly into my parents' eyes and calmly replied, yes, I'll give it to her. Mom was visibly surprised, completely not expecting me to be so obedient. Dad let out a sigh of relief as if unburdened. Emma, you're so understanding. Mom and Dad are very happy. Then Dad gave me a reward, the Lego model I had always wanted, a complete warship set that would fill my entire room when assembled. But in my previous life, this model was in my sister's room. I proceeded step by step, going to school, coming home, studying, repeatedly reviewing knowledge I already knew by heart. When too tired, I would lie on the floor assembling the Lego model. I often held small pieces studying them for a whole week. Finally, after half a year, I successfully assembled this warship. But before I could enjoy it, my sister smashed it to pieces. She discovered the completed Lego model in my room, and invited friends over to show it off. She tried to carry this massive model to the living room with her frail body. As a result, she dropped it, and it shattered everywhere. Her own leg was also scraped and torn. She cried and apologized to me, promising she would definitely restore it for me. I nodded yes. She immediately went everywhere collecting the pieces. Some pieces cut her leg, some marbles rolled deep inside, making her dusty all over. When Mom saw my sister looking so disheveled, she pointed at me and scolded. It's just a model. Do you need to make your sister crawl on the floor searching like that? Emma, don't you have any sympathy for your sister's health? She forgot that my sister volunteered to restore the model for me. She also forgot that I crawled like a dog for over half a year to complete this model. But it didn't matter. I never expected anything from Mom from the beginning. Without expectations, there would be no disappointment. I turned to speak to my crying sister beside me. I sympathize that you're delicate and weak, so stop looking. She shook her head, her body trembling slightly, her face full of shame. No, I dropped and broke your model. I must take responsibility to the end. I couldn't help but sneer. But you're hurt. Mom and Dad will be heartbroken and don't sympathize with you, that I'm bullying you. Sister, do you really want to help me or do you want me to be scolded by our parents? My sister froze. Mom was horrified when she spoke up again, while I was extremely clear-headed. This model originally wasn't mine. I stole my sister's toy, that's why she could move it out without my permission. Anyway, I was ignorant. Dad was just being polite to me once, and I dared to take something that didn't belong to me. Mom and sister, don't worry, I won't do this again. I'll strengthen my self-awareness. Mom and my sister stood frozen in place. They slightly opened their mouths as if wanting to say something, but probably not knowing what to say, they never made a sound. As for me, I didn't want to waste time on this meaningless dispute. I returned to my desk, put on my headphones, and read English aloud. All the sounds in the headphones filled my mind. My heart was left with only studying. Lego. I'll buy it myself later. For the university entrance exam, I performed steadily and scored 713 points. After seeing my results, my parents suggested I choose the same school as my sister, hinting that I should help my sister graduate smoothly. In my previous life, I had resisted, but resistance was completely useless. Although I always watched over my application form, in the final stage it was still changed by my parents. My father is a senior programmer. I'm far inferior to him in this aspect, so this time I could only compromise. Who told me I wasn't strong enough yet? Seeing me comply, Dad felt a bit ashamed. After seeing me fill in the same school as my sister, he gave me a bank card with 30,000 yuan inside. He specifically instructed me not to tell Mom and my sister, telling me to buy things I liked. But Dad, I've already suffered a loss once. Why would I step into this same trap again? During the winter break of my first year in university, my sister spent all the money for tickets home. I exchanged my high-speed rail ticket for a hard seat, planning to go home with her in that seat. But she refused. She didn't like the smell of the hard seats, nor did she like the feeling of being crammed with others. So she decided to stay at school and lied to our parents that her thesis advisor had selected her project and needed to stay at school to work on it. Returning home a few days late, this sister with her high pride had no real ability, but always pretended to be talented. She didn't want our parents to know she couldn't do anything but spend money, so she stubbornly didn't tell them she had no money for a ticket. She also didn't want to be looked down upon by classmates, so she never intended to borrow money for a ticket home. But her stubborn pretense ultimately still wanted me to take the blame. She spent 5 days washing dishes and cleaning tables day and night, finally earning enough money from a small restaurant to buy a high-speed rail ticket home. But during these 5 days, she missed the best time to grab tickets. By the time she realized this, it was already New Year's Eve. She called our parents crying and complaining. The dorm is so cold, the school cut off electricity and water. Mom, Dad, I'm so scared, I'm so scared. Only then did our parents discover the problem. They called me over to interrogate me about the situation. I answered in detail. Then Dad, agitated, slapped me across the face. My face immediately turned red, the pain from his 5 fingers making my vision blur. Even Mom was horrified. Dad still wasn't satisfied and wanted to raise his hand to hit me again. Fortunately, Mom stopped him, preventing me from being beaten unconscious. Why did you hit Emma? Mom frowned and asked. Dad said, Sophia has been weak and sickly since childhood, doesn't Emma know that? Yet she still wanted to buy a hard seat for Sophia. Isn't that wishing her sister wouldn't come home? That's your sister. Buying her a high-speed rail ticket wouldn't hurt you. I forced a smile. I only have this much money. If I buy a high-speed rail ticket for her, I can't go home. Dad immediately raised his voice. Didn't I give you 30,000 yuan as emergency money? How can you not have money? I pursed my lips and looked at Mom. Mom's face darkened. When Dad continued to humiliate me, Mom finally spoke. Emma gave me those 40,000 yuan a long time ago. She doesn't have much money on her. Dad pursed his lips, very embarrassed. But anyway, the hitting was done, the scolding was finished. How could he apologize to me? So he found ways to justify himself, though this time he couldn't be as aggressive as before. Even without that 30,000 yuan, if you saved a bit from your living expenses, how could you not afford a high-speed rail ticket for your sister? You're just evil, deliberately not wanting your sister to come back. I said nothing, just smiled at Mom. Mom took a deep breath, her voice getting smaller. Alright, stop talking. Emma doesn't have much money. How can she not have much money? Her monthly living allowance is a full 500 yuan. A high-speed rail ticket is only a few hundred yuan at most. It's not. Emma's monthly living allowance isn't that much. Are you getting confused with age? Emma and Sophia's monthly living allowances are clearly both 500. No. Emma's is only 500. My monthly living allowance was only 500. It was the same in my previous life and this life. The difference was that in my previous life, Mom forced me, while in this life, I actively requested it. Before school started, I gave Mom those 30,000 yuan and told her that my sister's poor health would probably require more money. I only needed 500 yuan a month. Mom should give the rest to my sister. Mom was very surprised then but happily accepted it, continuously praising me for being good. After all, she didn't need to think about what grounds to use to criticize and humiliate me to give more money to my sister. A high-speed rail ticket home costs 500 yuan. I saved for an entire semester, just enough to buy one ticket. But in the end, only I went home to my sister's home. This place wasn't my home. Mom lowered her head, not daring to look at me. Dad pursed his lips tightly. Although he knew he was wrong, how could he apologize to me? In this house, only outsiders need apologies. I looked at Dad and smiled. I'm sorry, Dad. Next time if this situation happens again, I'll give all my money to my sister to buy a ticket. After all, whether I come home or not, no one cares. When I turned to go back to my room, Mom stood behind me with words of reproach. If you had told me about Sophia's situation earlier, you wouldn't have been misunderstood by your father like this. You wouldn't have been hit. Look what you've done. This is all self-inflicted. You can't blame your father, and you certainly can't blame your sister and me. I stopped, my throat burning. Indeed, everything was as I predicted. But fortunately, I was prepared. I turned around and opened my phone, playing a recording from a few days ago. My voice rang out clearly into my parents' ears. Mom, Dad, my sister can't come home because she has no money for a ticket. Not because she's staying at school for a project. High-speed rail tickets are quite hard to buy now. You should buy one for her to come here first, or all the tickets home will be sold out, and that would be troublesome. Next came my parents' mocking and ridiculing words to me. Mom said, "What's wrong with this child? Just can't stand seeing your sister being talented. Are you jealous that your sister was kept at school for a project?" Dad said, "Just sent me a photo. She already bought a high-speed rail ticket. Don't cause trouble. If you have time, read more books. Think about why the advisor didn't choose you." Then my parents took turns praising my sister, while I couldn't even speak up without being constantly interrupted. Moreover, they maliciously speculated that I harbored evil intentions. When the recording ended, my parents' faces were pale, their lips trembling. They said nothing more, unable to attribute my sister's problems to me anymore. I turned back to my room and hid under the covers. In the middle of the night, I heard the sound of suitcases moving. My parents quietly left. The next day when I woke up, I found a note Mom left on the dining table. The note said, "Emma, Mom and Dad have something to do and need to be away for a trip. Take care of yourself for a few days." I read the note and casually opened the completely empty refrigerator, my stomach cold. It seemed my life for the next few days wouldn't be good at all. I knew my parents went to find my sister. If tickets from school to home couldn't be bought, perhaps tickets from home to school were easy to buy. At dawn, they appeared at school with pastries, giving my sister a surprise. My sister shared everything on her social circle. She said although it wasn't her birthday, it didn't affect our family gathering to eat cake together and celebrate the new year. Strawberry cake was my sister's favorite, and also my favorite, but this year I didn't get to share it. But it's okay, I'll buy it myself later. In my second year of university, because of failing too many courses, my sister received a warning from school threatening expulsion. Because of this, my parents rushed to school again, wanting to use their connections to solve the problem. Finally, they learned that if she had a research project in hand, she could break the rules and not be expelled, and moreover ensure smooth graduation. At this time, I happened to have a research project in my hands. They turned their eyes to me again. "Emma, you only need one project to graduate smoothly. You should give it to your sister." Dad said this, completely without shame anymore. It sounded like sincere words full of emotion, but actually felt like a matter of course. Mom didn't speak, but her eyes no longer pretended either. Since that time I played the recording and exposed their hypocritical faces, they no longer pretended with me. This was very good. They didn't need to criticize me from a moral standpoint, and I didn't have to be the villain anymore. Finally, they realized one thing. The true villain from beginning to end was only their unfair favoritism toward my sister. At this point, they always spoke very directly and clearly to me. For example, it had been a year since I received a call from them, a year since I went home, and a year since I received living expenses. At this moment, when my parents made this request, I simply answered, "Yes, I'll give the research project to my sister." I handed over the project I had completed to them. My parents immediately gave it to my sister. That evening, my sister posted photos of herself with our parents on her social circle with the captions, "Thank you, Mom and Dad. I'm truly so happy." "What are you looking at, Emma? Your eyes are all red," my classmate Ryan Foster sitting next to me asked. "Kratch Strats. Who is that?" "She looks beautiful," I sniffed. "My sister." "Your real sister," he laughed. "In the photo, there are only parents and your sister, Emma. Were you the one taking the photo?" I shook my head. "No, I didn't take the photo. They didn't invite me to dinner with them." He was stunned. "Are you kidding? Your parents and your real sister?" I made an sound. He was embarrassed, then said consolingly, all right, I know you're a poor thing no one wants. Let me treat you to a meal." With that, he put his arm around my shoulder. I silently pushed him away. "No, go by yourself." He frowned. "Emma, is this necessary? I've been pursuing you for a year. Am I not handsome enough? Not good enough? Why do you keep refusing to date me?" He looked a bit angry but then softened his emotions like a puppy sticking close again. Fine, if you don't agree, then you don't agree. If you haven't accepted me yet, I'll keep pursuing you until you agree to be my girlfriend." At this time he hadn't met my sister Sophia Chen yet, so he could still boldly confess like this. I sighed softly and forwarded my sister's WeChat to him. "Add my sister's WeChat. I think you might understand me better through my sister." With that, I left. He stood there stunned, looking confused, but that evening, he came to find me. He hugged me, his face full of pain. "Emma, let me protect you, okay? Emma, my good Emma. Emma has suffered so much pain. How could I not love you more after knowing your past? If your parents don't love you, it's okay. I love you, I will always love you." Sophia was indeed such an angelic girl who understood people's hearts. Of course, she would report everything about me to Ryan Foster without hiding anything, including her malice toward me, her love, and closeness to me. Ryan's loving words buzzed annoyingly in my ears. In my previous life, these words were a fatal temptation to me. But in this life I only found them boring and tasteless, because I knew the person in front of me would betray me. He would fall in love with my sister and be unable to stop himself, then criticize me as someone who did everything wrong. All love under the manipulation of the kind and innocent. Sophia was that fragile. "Ryan Foster, let's make a bet." He looked at me with sincere, passionate eyes as if filled with stars. "You bring breakfast to my sister for 6 months. If you can still persist, then we'll date." He found it amusing. "If I'm bringing breakfast, it should be to you. Why would I bring it to your sister? Your sister already has so much love." I forced a smile. "I also find it very strange. Why does Sophia have so much love already, yet so many people still come to love her?" Ryan knew I meant what I said, so he stubbornly agreed. Before leaving, he warned me 6 months. "In 6 months, you'll definitely be my girlfriend." I nodded. Hearing this promise, my heart remained calm without a ripple. Ryan didn't know that when he added Sophia on WeChat, she had already come to find me. Sophia told me that Ryan was the boy she had secretly loved for a long time. She wanted me to give Ryan to her. Growing up under my parents' oppression, I had given too much to Sophia. This was the only time Sophia actively came to beg to give Ryan to her. At that time, I said, "I'll give him to you, but how do you want me to give him?" That eternally weak person told me the breakfast delivery plan she had thought up beforehand, and I followed it completely. My 3rd year of university was my 2nd year of self-made life. Because I got excellent grades in all subjects, I received a study abroad opportunity. After learning this, my parents discussed whether I should give this opportunity to my sister. This time, Sophia refused to study abroad because she wanted to stay with Ryan Foster. After those 6 months, she firmly believed she would definitely become Ryan's girlfriend. Just like Ryan felt he could become my boyfriend after 6 months. They were the same type of person who should hold tightly to each other and never let go. While I was preparing my study abroad documents, Ryan ran to find me. He accused me of choosing to study abroad because I didn't want to date him. I didn't deny it but showed him the screenshots Sophia sent me. Ryan, my health isn't good and I'm stupid. I can't do anything right, not like Emma. It's normal that you don't like me. I'm bothering you. From tomorrow on, you don't need to bring me breakfast anymore. Let's delete each other's contacts. Actually, that's not true. You're very good, very gentle and kind. You don't do everything wrong. Really? Does that mean I already have a small place in your heart, Ryan? Right. Actually, I do like you a tiny bit. Just a tiny, tiny bit. 4 lines of drawn-out messages. Any sensible person could see the ambiguity in them. But Ryan would rather die than admit it. He said, "You know Sophia's health isn't good." I replied like that to avoid her getting too emotionally agitated. I was surprised listening to his explanation. He, with red-rimmed eyes, immediately gritted his teeth viciously and yelled at me, "Fine. I shouldn't be reserved because she's your sister. I shouldn't worry about her health condition." Then right in front of me, he deleted Sophia's WeChat account. When Sophia felt she had been blacklisted by Ryan, she immediately called him. The phone was on speaker. Sophia asked pitifully, "Ryan, did I do something wrong? Why did you?" Ryan's eyes bulged as if he was having trouble breathing. "Sophia, I'm warning you to stop clinging to me. I will never like you. I only love Emma. Only love Emma Chen." Sophia cried, crying until she couldn't control herself. From the speaker, you could hear her crying as if she was about to suffocate. Then there was a thud of falling. Ryan immediately became flustered. "Sophia, don't pretend with me. Say something." "Sophia, what's wrong with you?" Ryan shifted his feet while turning to look at me. He was very angry. "Your sister has fallen ill, and you're not going to check on her." I didn't answer. He scowled and grabbed my collar. "Emma, how can you be so cold-blooded? That's your real sister." I raised my hand to push him away and stepped back a few steps. I calmly said, "If you're so worried, then go find her. As for us," I smiled, "there are still a few months before I go abroad. Our bet is still ongoing. If you win, I'll still be your girlfriend." He froze, his eyes flickering. Finally, he still left, his legs running at 100-meter sprint speed to Sophia's dormitory. When the ambulance arrived, Ryan kept holding Sophia's hand, always beside her comforting her. He said, "Don't be scared. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be by your side. Nobody dislikes you. Really? Please don't let anything happen. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I witnessed everything, my heart very calm. My parents knew my sister had rapid heartbeat and was hospitalized just because Ryan deleted her as a friend. They didn't know this was Ryan's fault, nor did they feel their precious daughter had any problems. Without knowing the truth, they had already determined that I stole Sophia's boyfriend. So they went to find the school, met with the principal, and condemned me as someone with improper conduct. They even demanded that I write a self-criticism and read it on the school's broadcast station to repent. I felt it was too ridiculous, but my parents had connections that made me unable to resist. I was called to the principal's office. The leader sat at his desk, fondling this year's new tea. The misty tea fragrance carried a slightly pungent air. He adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses and slowly said, "If you want to study abroad, write a self-criticism and read it on the broadcast in the morning. Let all the female students in the school examine themselves to see if they have this conduct problem. I'm not willing to delay students' futures, so I'm giving you a chance to repent." This was the 3rd time I came to the principal's office. The first time was for the study abroad scholarship, the second time was for the research project, the third time was for Ryan Foster. Like the 3 times before, I nodded in agreement. After leaving the principal's office, I went to the school's public computer room. All night, I printed hundreds of copies of a manuscript I was extremely satisfied with. While it was still dark, these manuscripts were posted in every corner of the school. On them was presented the entire process of how I had been oppressed by the school leadership over these years. At 8 a.m., students going to practice, attending early classes, or heading to the cafeteria, all teachers and students who came across this manuscript Then on the broadcast station rang out the voice of the victim who appeared in the manuscript. Sophia, a first-year computer major student batch 23, stole my study abroad qualification, seized my successful research project achievement, and now, because she couldn't pursue Ryan Foster from the information class, she forced the school leadership to pressure me to cancel my study abroad opportunity. Ryan Foster, if you like Sophia, then date her. Don't make excuses for your fickleness and put the label of improper conduct on my head. I have never agreed to Ryan Foster's confession. My roommates can testify for me. But the photos of Ryan Foster kissing Sophia, their ambiguous conversations have all been captured. Now everyone has a copy in hand. Saying I have improper conduct, that I'm flirtatious and seducing male students, I ask the school leadership to provide evidence. Now I will play a recording for everyone to know how the school leadership forced me to yield, forced me to comply. I am innocent. I am wronged. I am the victim. The broadcast room door was knocked on violently. People outside wanted to rush in to stop everything, but I had locked the door from inside and blocked it with a heavy cabinet and desk. I laid out all the pre-recorded evidence on the desk. Inside were my parents' voices, Sophia's voice, and the school leadership's voice. By the time I finished broadcasting everything, the class group chat was also in an uproar. My classmates and roommates all spoke up. They said, "Emma, you're not wrong.
We support you. Emma, don't be afraid. We'll testify for you."
Emma, this study abroad opportunity is definitely yours. If anyone dares to take it, we'll sue them together. That day, everywhere in the school was discussing topics related to Sophia faking study abroad qualifications, faking research projects, and seducing Ryan Foster. My parents and the school leadership all became targets for students and teachers to attack. As for me, after years of endurance, I finally won once. The school leadership was investigated and soon lost their position. My parents, as bribers, were also investigated. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough evidence of my parents colluding with the principal, so they only had to accept judgment from public opinion. Ultimately, both their careers were damaged and their income dropped sharply. As for Sophia, all the evidence of her fraud was extremely authentic. Previously, she relied on her innocent romanticism to gather much goodwill, but now they all turned against her. The forums were full of curses against her. Sophia looks innocent and kind, but she's actually a parasite sucking her sister's blood. I told you so. We spent all day crunching data doing research with absolutely no time to dress up or put on makeup, while she pranced around the lab like a flower all day. So many boys pursued her, and she was interesting enough to specifically like the one pursuing her sister. She became a target for everyone to criticize. Unsurprisingly, when Sophia was expelled from school, she hadn't been discharged from the hospital yet, but because of the news at school, she was sent to the emergency room again. My parents groped their way to school intending to teach me a lesson, but I had already asked the dormitory supervisor beforehand not to let them in. So they stood outside the dormitory gate cursing me with very ugly words. My roommates immediately took megaphones to fight back for me. The noise was so loud that the entire female dormitory building was dissatisfied. My parents only had 2 mouths. How could they fight against thousands in this dormitory building? From some unknown floor, someone carried out a basin of water and splashed it on my parents, finally making them shut up and leave dejectedly. Understanding my situation, the professor took the initiative to apply to expedite my study abroad procedures. The professor was afraid I would be harassed, so they accompanied me to complete all related procedures. On the day I flew abroad, every classmate sent me blessings. Some sent messages, some posted on social circles, some wrote greeting cards. In just a few sentences, I felt the deep friendship of classmates. Emma, I always thought you were so solitary because you looked down on ordinary people like us. But I didn't expect you had to endure so much pain that you shouldn't have had to bear. But fortunately, you've grown up safely. I wish you a bright future. Emma, all efforts and endurance will be rewarded. You'll always be the most talented student in my heart. Study God, don't forget us when you return from abroad. Emma, remember to always love yourself. Remember to always love yourself. I sniffled. For the first time in my life, I felt such pure friendship. I turned off my phone. The loudspeaker was urging passengers to board quickly. I pushed my suitcase preparing to board when Ryan Foster appeared before me. His eyes were bloodshot, looking like he hadn't slept all night. He walked toward me and slapped me. He reproached, Emma, are you satisfied? Sophia has been expelled. Now she's been sent to the emergency room. You've gotten everything you wanted, haven't you? Your parents are wrong, but what does that have to do with innocent? Kind Sophia. Why did you treat her like this? My cheek stung, but I wasn't angry. Facing Ryan, I didn't even want to say a word. This trash really wasn't worth it. I laughed coldly and walked past him. But he teared up and pleaded. Emma, our bet isn't over yet, right? Ryan Foster, you clearly already slapped me for Sophia. How do you have the face to ask me about the bet? But whatever. Let him live in confusion and contradiction. This slap, I'll return it eventually. The moment the plane landed, I didn't even put down my luggage, but immediately went to a bakery to buy a slice of strawberry cake. The sweet and rich taste was delicious, better than any strawberry cake I'd ever eaten before. Because this slice was bought by myself. And it was the taste of freedom. After eating the cake, I strolled through Lego stores and used my scholarship to buy the latest warship model. When I carried it back to the dormitory, my roommates were all surprised. I told them this was a childhood hobby, my way of compensating for what I lacked when I was young. I never felt that strawberry cake and Lego came late to my life. When I looked at them, my heart was filled with ultimate satisfaction and enormous joy. I obtained everything I wanted by relying on myself. The freedom to freely indulge myself. At this moment I had finally achieved it. Finally, I didn't have to use Sophia's hand-downs anymore. Finally, I didn't need to save money and only eat steamed buns. Finally, I didn't need to worry fearfully that what I cared about would be taken away. After 3 years studying abroad, I smoothly received my graduation certificate. With my excellent resume, I worked up to a senior management position at a listed company. Then, thanks to the development of the times and changes in technology, I chose to start my own business. When I returned to my country, it was already 3 years later. I was invited to attend a university class reunion. After 3 years of not seeing each other, classmates had gotten married and had children. Some were happily content, others had divorced and still hadn't accomplished anything. Ryan Foster, also a classmate, had gotten married and had children. He looked content but had become a useless person, only knowing how to reminisce about the past. He arrived late, his hair disheveled, no longer the handsome appearance of those years. Beside him was Sophia, who had gained weight. When Sophia saw me, her eyes wavered. After a long moment, she called my name Emma. I smiled in response. Long time no see. What are you doing now? You look really beautiful. Sophia was still as naive and romantic as before. Apart from gaining weight and looking completely different from before, her personality hadn't changed at all. She praised me. The classmates also chimed in. Emma is a CEO now. She's the strong woman we must admire. Emma, if there's an opportunity, let's collaborate. Don't look down on our small companies, haha. Emma, are you still single? Do you have a boyfriend yet? Everyone was very curious about me after not seeing me for years, asking one thing after another. I answered each question. During this process, Ryan's eyes never left me. When the dinner ended, Sophia and Ryan waited for me outside. Sophia said our parents missed me and told me to visit home. Ryan didn't speak from beginning to end. 2 days later, I brought gifts to visit home. As soon as I opened the door, my parents threw all my belongings into the hallway. They pointed at me and cursed. We don't have a daughter like you. Get out now. What you did before, Sophia can forgive you, but we never will. Go die outside. Never appear before us again. I had predicted this situation, so I wasn't hurt or suffering at all. I only came back to make them angry. To let them see clearly that the daughter they didn't love was now driving a luxury car, dressed beautifully, and everyone had to call her Director Chen. While the daughter they cherished in their hands had no achievements and was still as stupid and dull as before. They chose wrong. They also looked wrong. Although outwardly they spoke harshly without showing any regret, her behavior of looking out the window actually said everything. Sophia advised our parents not to be angry at me anymore and told Ryan to see me off. Ryan walked beside me, his face tired and looking very cautious. Congratulations, Emma. Seeing you living so well now, I'm very happy. Happy. What right did he have to express happiness for me? I smiled. You and my sister are very happy and good together. His face darkened as he began to complain about his hardships. Emma, if you hadn't left back then, maybe we would still be together. Sophia's health isn't good. I didn't want to stimulate her, so I agreed to date her. Sophia isn't like you. She's too weak and stubborn. Won't listen to anyone's advice. All life's pressure falls on me, so I haven't achieved anything. I looked at him and asked, "Do you feel my sister is dragging you down?" He pursed his lips and nodded. If we were together, maybe we both would have been more successful. You know, I used to have very good grades, but after dating Sophia, my performance declined sharply. What a pity that time can't be reversed to go back to the past. I replied with one sentence. He became agitated again. No, Emma, we still have a chance. I'll divorce Sophia. What about her if you divorce my sister? And what about your 3 children? My sister only wants to be a housewife. Those 3 kids were also her demand. I never liked children. Your parents have pension income enough for her to spend. We don't need to worry. Is that so? Sister, you heard it too, right? Ryan was terrified. Behind him was Sophia, already extremely resentful. Sophia moved her fat body and rushed in front of Ryan, then slapped him hard. There was no trace of her previous weak and frail appearance. She had such strength now. She even grabbed Ryan's collar and threw him to the ground. Watching Ryan suffer domestic violence with my own eyes, I swallowed quietly and left. As I left, I could still hear Sophia roaring, no longer maintaining her previous gentleness. You dead dog. See clearly what virtue you have. Why would Emma ever notice you? She already despised you before, and now you're still trying to flatter her. You're truly despicable. You play around with women, fine, I still didn't say anything. But this I absolutely cannot tolerate. I must beat you to disability, you useless, powerless thing. Eating and using my things while still wanting to cheat. Let me tell you, even if you die, you must die beside me. You worthless son-in-law still dares to show off in front of me. I'll beat you to death right now. Seeing Ryan beaten until his face was bruised and swollen through the rearview mirror, my anger from that slap at the airport years ago finally dissipated. I called my assistant to book a return ticket for me. The assistant was surprised. Director Chen, didn't you say there were many things to do? Why are you finishing so quickly? Yes, there were many things that went unexpectedly smoothly. Maybe they still needed closure, but you don't need to stay here. I gave the WeChat account I used many years ago to my assistant, telling her to use artificial intelligence to seduce Ryan. After just 2 weeks of ambiguity, Ryan had already given up everything. With just a few words that weren't even promises, he rushed to find me, filing for divorce in court and leaving with nothing. Sophia didn't want to find our parents for help to stop Ryan. Ryan argued with our parents and accidentally made Dad have a heart attack and pass away. Mom immediately suffered a stroke after the blow and became paralyzed. Sophia had to care for 3 children while also caring for Mom. She had no energy left to fight with Ryan and could only compromise on the divorce. After the divorce was finalized, Ryan spent all his money on a plane ticket to find me. But as soon as he boarded the plane, he lost contact with me. He asked around everywhere but got no results. He didn't know that I frequently flew to different countries. In the vast sea of people, he was penniless and wanted to accidentally meet me. That was truly only in dreams. Many more years passed. I don't know how Sophia found my phone number. She told me Ryan was dead. He died stealing food from children on foreign streets and had his head smashed. Mom held on for 2 more years and also passed away. Now she could only sell the house to raise 3 children. She cursed me for why I treated her like this. But wasn't she the source of everything? From beginning to end, she silently accepted all our parents' favoritism and enjoyed all the benefits. She never did anything to me directly. She just directed others to do things to me. Even with Ryan, she was never open and honest. Why did she still think she was innocent now? I blacklisted her, completely erasing her from my life. When I looked up again, I was standing at a press conference announcing my latest product. A reporter asked, "Director Chen, what motivated you to achieve your current success? Is there anyone you want to thank?" I smiled. On this journey, I've met many people and many things. There were very good classmates, very close friends, and also good teachers. But if I must say a word of thanks, I think the person I need to thank most is myself. Thank you, Emma, for never giving up. Thank you, Emma, for always being determined. Thank you, Emma, for always loving yourself. Emma, you are the best, Emma.